All right, all right. What's up, everybody? My name is Jeremy Kulikowski, and welcome to today's show. We're going to have a lot of fun, and we are going to dig into the real reason for most marriage problems. So notice I didn't say all marriage problems, but for most marriage problems, for, in my opinion, 99% of all marriage problems. I'll just say 99% because I can't say 100%, but I can say that from my experience, what we're going to talk about today, what has been able to solve most marriage problems is not what you think, and it actually does fix 99% of the problems, because when you get this right, it kind of just, oozes on over into some of those other areas, or kind of starts to swallow up some of those other areas of work, as well as carry over into those as well. When you get the right skills, when you know how to be able to do that, it starts to affect the other areas as well. And we find that when you really get this figured out, it helps you to finally resolve the tension, the overwhelm, the arguing. So again, if you're watching this and you have been, and your marriage is just not where you want it to be, if you think about your marriage, and what's up, David? It's good to see you. Shout out to you. And if your marriage is just not where you want to be, if there's a coldness, or there is a distance, or there is a sense of isolation, especially even today, I was thinking not to do like a pun, but social distancing is a real thing right now. But for a lot of you guys, there's been social distancing in your marriage for years, even decades, in the sense that you've felt emotionally distant, you felt even relationally distant. And if you're watching this and you're feeling a sense of distance, you're feeling a sense of a lack of passion, or a lack of connection, or maybe there's even animosity. Maybe it's not coldness. Maybe it's like, maybe it is coldness, but maybe it's not just that. Maybe there's like some actual real headbutting. I mean, there's arguments, there's gnashing out, there's nagging, there's words that you would probably never say to anybody, any of your friends, any of your peers or coworkers, whatever, but you find yourself saying some of the nastiest, most mean, critical things to your spouse, or having them say things to you that you cannot take back, or they can't take back. And if you're in this place where you're feeling stuck and you just don't know what to do to solve it, we're going to talk about this, and we're going to talk about some of the things that most people try. So let's just dig into that. So most people, guys, when it comes to like transforming and even saving a marriage, let's just talk about a few of the biggest ones. So first of all, most people are going to try some form of marriage counseling, or some form of individual therapy. Now, are they all together bad? No. Is every marriage counselor or therapist, like, are they all ineffective? Is there no value in it? I wouldn't say that, but I will say that most of the people that come to us that have been trying to fix their marriage, or try to do something, they've tried something like that. They've tried meeting with a mentor person, but specifically when it comes to a therapist or a counselor, most people have done something like that. And guys, really, let's just talk about that for a second, because when you think about marriage, so actually I'm going to run through a few of these first, and I'll break them down why. So that's the first one that a lot of people do. Okay, the second one is there, they go into reading books, like, oh, maybe let me learn my love languages, or men are from this, or women are from that, or whatever. Let's try a bunch of different books to be able to fix it, or they just try to avoiding most of the hard topics. Like, maybe if we just don't talk about things like money, the things that tend to cause the tension, or cause the friction, maybe that'll fix it. Maybe we'll just stop doing that. And so despite all that, guys, what's really interesting is that most people are not even close. They're not even close to fixing the problems in their marriage, let alone getting back the passion, the intimacy, the joy, that sense of, oh my gosh, I'm head over heels for you, you're head over heels for me. We're more connected than we felt, maybe even on the first parts of our marriage. Like, guys, like, most people, they never do that despite having tried all these things. And we've had people that come to us after decades. I'm talking decades of therapy, seeing a therapist, trying to work on you. Maybe if I just fix myself, and you still don't feel like you've really changed all that much, and like it's really making a big difference. Or, again, you've tried marriage counseling and things like that, and you're going meeting after meeting, and it feels like it's taking months. And even then you feel like you're just scratching at the surface, or you stop going and then the problems come right back up. You're like, what's the deal? Right. Or again, you try reading the books, or you try just avoiding the topics. Most people, they try doing all that stuff, and it just doesn't work. And if you guys have been following me for a while, if you've been watching any of our shows or listening to us, you will know that most of the strategies I just talked about and I mentioned, like therapy, counseling, just reading books, just avoiding the hard topics, especially around money, that it is absolute garbage. It's garbage. It sucks. And I can say that because I talked to hundreds of people that have tried those things, and it's not working. Again, I'm not saying that there's absolutely zero value in reading a book around marriage. Everyone should read books around marriage. If you want to keep growing, it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea to see a counselor. It's, again, I'm not saying these are bad things, but if you really want to transform in a very short period of time and completely change the game holistically from the inside out, not just dabbling in transformation, but completely change it, you have to do something different. Okay. But you might be wondering, okay, is this the real reason people are struggling? No. And we're going to talk about the real reason, like I said, for most marriage problems. The real reason for most marriage problems, for after doing this and field testing this and talking to just countless numbers of Christians and be able to help people, is a lack of connection around values, specifically around money. Okay. When you try to talk about money, you lash out, or you find yourself getting really aggressive, or you just retreat, or you isolate, or you kind of go your separate ways and you just kind of sleep on it, or, avoid it, whatever. And eventually you just kind of, we'll go to the next thing. So someone spends some money that you don't agree with and you're like, oh my gosh, or they come at you and you kind of avoid it or you argue, whatever. And it's like, okay, whatever. And then you let it go until it happens again a few days later, or a week or two later, and then you do it again, you do it again. It just becomes a cycle and a cycle and a cycle and a cycle. And so again, like and even then it might be that you want to afford something and you can't afford it. And so then, like, when you can't afford it, or you have to tell the other person no, or you have to be told no, and the account feels too tight, you start blaming each other, even if it's just internal, but you might find yourself blaming each other, and it's like, gosh, you find yourself getting, a little bit frustrated, a little bit resentful, maybe a lack of trust, or, there's a big fight that does happen and then your connection really goes out the window, it really starts to struggle. So when that happens and you find yourself saying, like I said, some of those horrible things, thinking some of the most horrible things about your spouse and even about you, like things that you wouldn't even say to your worst enemy, to your spouse or to yourself, if you've done this before, I just want you guys to know, again, don't feel like, like you're too far broken, like it can't be fixing. And we've all done it. I've done it in the past. We've had things like this, but I want to talk about, again, what is it that really fixes it? And I want you guys to know, if you can get connected around your values, specifically around money, all of those things start to go away. All those problems, all of those issues. And I've seen it time and time and time and time again. Okay. So you might be wondering, how is that the case? What the heck is money? Like, how is that really going to change all these other areas? Well, specifically when I say getting connecting around your values, in other words, what are the things that freak you the heck out, that you're scared about? Maybe it's how much you don't have in savings. Maybe it's where's all the money going? How are we going to retire? How are we going to pay for college? How are we going to cover, just the basic necessities of life, clothing, food expenses, activities for the kids, things like that. Guys, we live in a 3D world. Okay. Money, literally, you are dealing or involved with money every single day. Okay. Every single day. And I can't think of anything else that expresses what you value, practically, like in terms of like how it reveals itself, like really more than money, right? Because a lot of us say, oh, I believe this theologically, or I believe this, or I think this, or, this is my opinion about this. But guys, your money does not lie. Where your money goes, it tells you where your heart is. It tells you what are ultimately the things that you value, you believe, you treasure. And again, like, it comes out on the surface. You can't deny it. So what's amazing is that when you can get connected around money, it's such a practical and fun way to be able to get totally connected around your values. Because when you both know what it is that freaks you out, like I said, all of those different things, what is it that you want? Again, how much do you want to have saved? How much money do you want to make? How do you want to do that? Do you want to do that individually? Do you want to do it separately? When do you want to do it by? How would you want to do it? What would you be able to do with that money? Who would you help? Who would you bless? Where would you be able to travel? What sorts of things would you be able to do? What would you be able to buy? All of these sorts of things. When you have connection around that, guys, that is the substance of life. All of those sorts of things. Like, I've never seen a single couple where you're connected around all of those things on the most intimate level, and it's like, yeah, your marriage is falling apart. Like, yeah, we're basically like roommates. We basically don't. It's impossible. Can you guys see that? How it's literally absolutely impossible. If you are connected on all of those levels, right? And every single day and every single step that you take, you're in complete unison and harmony. What else is there to really fight about? Not much. What else is there to really cause you stress personally, and which also tends to leak over into your relationship? Not much. Not much. I've struggled financially and barely surviving, and I've not struggled financially, really thriving. And I can tell you that when I was in this zone, it also made a way bigger of a difference, right? So that's the other part of it too, is the fact that, guys, when you don't have money stress in your marriage, not only when you're connected, but when you don't have money stress, it changes everything. Because when you guys are connected around your finances and totally clear again on what are our strategies for fixing this, how do we want to do this, how do we want to have fun playing with this, what are the things that are lining us up? How are we achieving? How are we winning? You're seeing yourself win individually together. It boosts your confidence as a team. Guess what happens? You start to find yourself prospering more financially, right? And when you are prospering financially, guess what happens? You have less stress, you have less tension, you have less frustration. You don't have to say no so much. You don't have to be told no so much. You don't have to always deprive yourself. You don't have to, feel guilty for not giving to your church or giving to your friends or family that are needing, or being able to do certain things for your kids or whatever it would be. And so then that also affects this. And then just amazing how together it creates this amazing harmony and blend of passion and love and excitement about life and about your marriage and around what's coming and where you're at and feeling like you're winning and feeling like a champion. And really, you start to feel like a powerhouse team. And so, really, guys, it's almost like when you can get that done, we've really told people in terms of like, well, how would you describe what you do? Now, we're not technically, I'm not a therapist or a marriage counselor. So again, I can't say this, but we tell people it's almost kind of like marriage counseling that makes you rich, or marriage counseling that makes you money. Because when you can get really clear on what your values are, and again, even when I say that, some of you guys might be, well, I don't need marriage counseling. Again, everybody has room to grow. Everybody has, even if you're not fighting, even if you're not at each other's necks, if you're not connected around all of your values around your money, I'm telling you that there is a level of depth in your marriage and satisfaction and fulfillment that you haven't even scratched. And if you think marriage is good now, just wait. Any of our clients can tell you, when you get that level of clarity and passion and unity around all of the most substantial and most valuable things in life, and the things that you perceive about life and where you want to be and what you want to do and how you want to grow, and where you want to end up and how you want to live your life and how you want to end your life, and like what things you want to do over the next 20, like when you have that sort of connection around your values, your goals, your dreams, your futures, even your fears, guys, I'm telling you, it absolutely will transform your marriage. And it will actually not only help you guys save money and get out of debt and transform, your marriage, but actually help you to build wealth, make more money. And to be able to do that, it's really one of the foundational pillars. Like we always tell people, your marriage is one of the most foundational, fundamental pillars of your success financially. If your marriage sucks and you have a really, or it's just not where it could be when it comes to your values, or again, don't have the greatest communication, you have terrible communication, there's animosity, or again, you're just avoiding it altogether, or things like that. If it's not like I'm just talking about, like how I've described, I'm telling you guys, you're missing out. And you're really making it harder than it needs to be, being able to get out of debt, being able to transform your life. But again, just going back to the point of this is to get that passion back in your life and back in your marriage, get that joy back in your life, that vitality, that sense of, oh my gosh, that feeling of being ravaged again, that feeling of, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to get home. I'm rushing from the office because I can't wait to see my spouse, or I cannot wait for them to walk in the door, because it's like Jesus walking in the room, in the sense that, they're there to serve you, they're there to love you, and you're there to serve them and love them. You just feel so connected to them because you have that. And guys, if you are at a place where you're not experiencing that, guys, I'm telling you again, please, it doesn't have to be this hard. And I get that a lot of this other stuff hasn't worked. Again, you've tried marriage counseling again. And why does that not work? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about most marriage counseling and marriage therapy. Again, and individual therapy, even when it comes to marriage counseling and things like that, guys, the problem is that, guys, ultimately, they don't connect you around, really, again, to my opinion, and from all of my studies and all of my experience, the most important thing that you need to get connected around, which is really, again, obviously, guys, spiritually. I'm talking about, most of you guys are watching this, you're already somewhat connected spiritually, but I'm saying that even spiritually, it connects. Your money is spiritual. How you spend your money, it's a spiritual thing. And what I'm saying is that most marriage counseling and things like that, it totally ignores the financial component. And I just found that it's so much fun, because at first I didn't think, it's like really getting your money managed together and really getting on the same page and really getting that dialed in, and like totally, connected around your finances, knowing exactly where your money is going, where you want to go, how much more money you want to make, what do you want to do with it, all that stuff. That really is like going to transform the marriage. I mean, I was skeptical too, but what I found, again, it's just a very practical way, because there's nothing else that really allows you to really dig into that, into the nitty gritty. And I'm a pragmatist. I just love the practical stuff. I think so many people make it so much harder than it needs to be. And sometimes we over spiritualize things that are really It's just a matter of you need to practically get together on this. You need to come around the table and like really link arms on this and really understand what's going on here financially. And when you get that done, it's amazing. But again, most marriage counseling and things like that, they don't address it. And even if they do, guys, they're not experts at it. They're not like that's not what they're trained for. You know, they spend years studying all these other things. They don't go to school for money. They don't train. That's not what they study for. They're not like masters at helping people be able to do that. So that's the problem first and foremost, is that again, a lot of marriage counselors, they're struggling financially or they're not where they need to be and they never bring it up. Same thing with pastors. Most pastors, I love pastors. I love my pastors, but most pastors are struggling financially too. So they don't talk about it. I've talked to so many pastors on the phone, guys, you would not believe, who's actually tell me verbatim, I do not preach on money. I do not teach on money. I do not counsel on money because I feel like a hypocrite and I am ashamed. And so they completely ignore that. So when you go to marriage counseling or marriage therapy, again, same thing for marriage therapists, they're probably not going to talk to you and help you with things that they have not figured out themselves. And even then, they're not an expert. That's not what they're there to do. So again, that's why it does not work when it comes to things like that. And even individual therapy, again, guys, for so many people, it's rehearsing the same old hurts, the same old, past and the same old sorts of things and trying all these different modalities. But again, it's ignoring the financial component that is really the most practical way to really be able to transform your relationship and do that together. Even if the other person isn't totally on board yet, there's still so much that you can do to initiate. And then what we see so many different times is we've seen couples and people where the other one now wants to participate. The other one wants to get connected just by seeing you win and seeing you prosper and seeing you grow and seeing you transform the person that you are. I know obviously there's other things that we're teaching people besides just the nitty gritty of the finances, but to really be able to transform the marriage and really be able to be financially prosperous and where they want to be. But I'm just telling you guys, that's the meat and potatoes of what we teach and what we see really transforms it completely transforms a marriage and transforms a relationship. And again, why not books? Well, guys, again, I mean, if you think about anybody that is excellent at what they do, that is a world-class star. All right, Michael Jordan did not get where he was just by reading books around basketball. Now, again, it was probably helpful to read some books. I'm sure he probably read a few books in his day. You know, any Olympic gold medalist, they've probably read some books on their specific thing. But guys, anybody who's extremely successful in any area of life, they've always got somebody who's an expert in their corner who's actually helping them, especially if they are reading books, actually implement it and follow through in it and fill in the gaps and make sure that it's making sense for them and doing that. So again, that's another reason why, guys, again, the books and the things like that and Googling and YouTube, again, it's just, you're going to get some tips here and there, guys, but most people that come to us realize it's so much bigger than that. Right. Even with all the tips, it's still not changing. We still haven't changed in our marriage, and even our finances haven't changed that much. So that's the other thing. And guys, even then, when it comes to just avoiding it, like we talked about, it doesn't work. Okay. You avoid it, you avoid it, you avoid it. But deep down, you're still frustrated. You're still bitter. You're still resentful. You're still feeling betrayed when they spend money that, that especially if it was your money too. But even if it was their money, you still feel like, well, how come you get to spend money on that? And not this? And how come I ask for help for this? You can't do that. And all these sorts of things. And you're still judging each other. You're still feeling judged. It doesn't work. And even then, guys, it's just totally avoiding the issue. Okay. It's absolutely totally avoiding the issue. It's that you're meant to have real passion around this. And it's no different. And I'm not trying to be a little bit graphic here or grotesque, but again, guys, it'd be no different than saying, well, we just don't know how to have intimacy. So we're just going to go both be intimate by ourselves just to meet that need. Right. And it's like, oh, at least there's intimacy. Right. It's like, yeah, but you're meant to have intimacy together. Right. You're meant to have financial peace together. If you are married, you should both be able to have that when it comes to your finances together. You shouldn't have to go off separate ways to be able to meet that need. You should be able to come together and be able to do that. Because again, when you go your separate ways, again, even then, that's where we see couples that there's financially sabotaging themselves because again, there's no plan, there's no strategy. If you had two ox, again, plowing in two different directions, and you're both trying to hit one big goal, which all of you guys ultimately do, you're still, again, it's not like, well, hey, he'll pay for the college, I'll pay for the retirement. You both are together realizing like we're in this for the long haul with our giving, for our savings, for our future, for things like this, that ultimately if someone loses a job, it's not like, oh, well, I guess you're stuck. It's like you're both going to be on the hook for that, for the house or whatever it would be. So again, you realize if you guys want to really be able to get major traction, then you guys want to be able to do that successfully, you have to be able to do that together. You have to come together and you have to really be able to be plowing in the same direction, doing that and being able to do that well. So guys, again, that's what we're talking about here. Again, we're talking about what are the real reasons for most marriage problems. What is the real reason? Again, guys, if you're just tuning in, again, welcome. And guys, again, like I said, it is because of values connection. So guys, if you will even just be able to experience a little bit of connection on your finances, you're going to notice that it starts to get more and more, you start to feel more and more connected to your spouse. You start to feel more peace. And again, guys, when you feel peace financially, when you feel there's no more tension, there's no more frustration, there's no more anxiety around it, you become a more pleasant person. Go figure. Your spouse becomes a more pleasant person. And when you don't have anxiety and things like that ruling your emotions, guys, again, it just changes the way you show up in life. You're nicer to your kids. You're not snapping at the kids as much. You're not snapping at your spouse. You're not waking up just in a sense of just kind of grumbling. You're not finding yourself getting impatient. You're not finding yourself just kind of wanting to retreat and isolate and just veg out on TV or on social media. You're actually wanting to engage with the family. You're actually wanting to hang out with your spouse. You're actually wanting to go out and go on a date. You're actually wanting to give each other massages and be intimate physically. You're actually wanting to be able to really connect with them because you feel that sense of personal joy and the personal satisfaction, personal conviction that you are winning, that you are crushing it, that you're seeing your goals met. It does so much for your confidence. It does so much for your sense of, again, fulfillment, that guys, you become a completely different person, and that will transforming a marriage. So when you guys can do that personally and then you can do it together, that's like I said, even if you're here and you're like, well, my spouse would never want to do this with me or never want to fix it, that's okay. We've seen that, again, even if just one person will totally devote themselves to the mission of getting their finances under control and then getting the tools to start inviting their spouse into that conversation and doing that, guys, it is absolutely transformational how much a complete financial situation can change. And even then, if you're like, my spouse doesn't want to talk about this at all and they're totally alienated and they're totally like, screw you, things like that. Well, then guys, like, I hate to say this, but for some of you, your spouse may have already be checked out. Your spouse may already be leaving. They might already have plans. And sometimes people don't want to share things because, again, they're hiding something. And sometimes it's hiding something really big that they don't want to change. And so, guys, even then, even if your spouse never wants to be a part of the solution and doesn't ever want to fix it, there's a very good chance, guys, that you could be on the path to divorce. And even if that's the case, then you're still going to need to know how to fend for yourself, how to be able to provide for yourself financially, and how to be able to do this in order to, and how to be able to get connected around this in the future, whether it's in your marriage or, or heaven forbid, another marriage. It's like you're still going to need to figure this out once and for all either way. So that's why we tell people it doesn't matter. Ideally, you have two spouses that both want to fix it. But even then, if one of you is just a little bit more motivated than the other person, that's okay. Just know that even by transforming who you are and getting connected around what are your values around your money and how is it that you want to spend your money and how you want to save your money and what you want to do and how much money you want to make and how are you going to do that and what's the timeline and getting clear on that. Again, if you aim at nothing, you hit it every time. But if you guys have a target, you're absolutely so much more likely to hit it. When you have that happening, guys, everything opens up for you. Everything can transform. Again, specifically, again, if I gave you guys, for those of you who are like, well, what's even having a target? Is that going to make a big deal? Again, if I took $1, if I took $100 bill and I slapped it right behind your head on your wall and I said, okay, you got 30 seconds to find the $100 bill, you guys would turn around and be like, I got it. It's right there. But again, if I blindfolded you, I spun you on the chair 10 times and I hit it somewhere in the crevices of your house and I said, hey, you've got 3 minutes to be able to do that, even 30 minutes, probably never going to find that $100 bill, right? So in order to get what you want, you first have to have a target. And if you and your spouse are feeling like we're not getting what we want financially and we're not getting what we want in our marriage, you first have to know, again, what do you want? How do you want to connect? What does that look like? Where do you want your money to go? How do you want to spend that? How do you want to give that? How do you want to be able to do that? How are we going to make more of it? How much more of it do we want to make? How do we want to end up making that? And what time span do we want to do that? What could that look like? What would that be individually? Would that be together? Things like that. Guys, they're topics that you just never know and you have to explore. And once you do, it can change everything when you finally get clarity. Again, for instance, we have a couple right now that we're working with. They're an amazing couple. And they've both been working their own careers for like 30 years. And he's going to retire probably in the next year or two. And they were like, okay, well, I'll be getting like $4,000 a month, for my pension thing every month. And he's like, they're kind of like, well, she's like, I could keep doing this. I could keep doing my job and it pays really well, but I'd really just love to spend more time together. I'd love to be able to do that. And he's like, me too. And it's like, okay. So now they're starting to explore. It's like, well, back in the day, we always talked about starting a business. What if we did that together? And it's like, wow, well, what would you want to do? Well, here's and it's like, and they're starting to get clarity around what are their values, what are their dreams, what are their goals. And even that, it's drawing them closer together. Their conversations are becoming more rich. It's becoming fun. They're starting to dream again. And they're dreaming together now in their 50s. And that's pretty cool. It's like to be able to start over and to be able to say, okay, let's make the second half even more fun than the first. Guys, again, it will absolutely revolutionize a marriage. It will absolutely eradicate most marriage problems. And even for people, again, we've seen infidelity. We've seen people already calling the divorce attorney. We've seen the papers on the table for the divorce. We've seen things like that where it's like, even if it's not that bad, we've seen it to where it's that bad. And even just by getting clarity around this and really getting clear on like what are our money values, how do we want to do this, and becoming one financially, we've seen that it eradicates almost all of those other problems over, I like overnight, guys. I know that sounds too good to be true, but we've seen that happen like literally like within a matter of weeks. Some people it's days. Within a matter of weeks, we've seen people completely transform their relationships. Stuff that typically would have taken them decades reading books or going to counseling, or maybe never would have fixed the problem at all. They've been able to do in a matter of weeks because we're just really freaking good at helping people to get that clarity and get that unison around their finances, and even just around the other areas of their marriage where it's lacking. So guys, again, if you need help, if you are, thinking like, I want this now, like I want what you're talking about, I want to be able to fix this, and that hope is still alive, which it should be, because again, guys, we're seeing it every day. You guys see it if you've been following us for any period of time. You see the videos, you see the people that do this. Go to dreamteammarriage.com, book your free call today, and we'll get on the phone. We'll see, okay, what's not working, what's really keeping you stuck, what is it that's causing the problems in your marriage, what is it that, communication wise, financially, and your finances, and then we'll help you guys come up with a plan to fix that. We'll help you figure out, again, what is it, and then how to overcome it. And if we can help you guys, we will absolutely let you know. We will show you, and we will teach you the exact strategies that we show everyone else. And if not, that's cool too. But either way, guys, we're going to serve you, we're going to love you, and make sure you get a ton of value out of it. Because again, guys, life is too short to have a marriage that's just, it's okay, it's not that bad, but it's not, no, man, no, like, oh my gosh, I want you guys to not settle, right? And again, especially if you are on the verge, if you feel like if this doesn't get fixed or it gets worse, on the verge of a divorce, please know that you can absolutely fix this. You can absolutely turn this around. You can absolutely change the game, and you can absolutely save your marriage and transform your marriage, and do it in a way that allows you to make a lot of money and to grow your wealth at the same time. It's like the best of both worlds, guys. Like if I just wish, like, so many people don't realize that you can do both. Like, and if it were me, and well, I mean, it is me, because that's what we do. It's like we transform our marriage and doing it with our finances. By doing it with our finances, that's how we've been able to do it so much in our marriage and take it to that, entirely new next level. For so many of you guys, like if it were me, instead of spending a whole bunch of money going to therapy and a marriage counselor, like I'd rather spend some money and get some help actually like doing, like fixing my marriage and making money and transforming my finances at the same time. So again, it's like, to me, it's the best of both worlds. So again, if you've never heard about this before, or you never thought about this before, or this is a new concept to you, that's cool. Welcome. Again, it's great to see you guys. Again, keep tuning in. But again, if you just know you need help and you want to do that right now, guys, again, go to dreamteammarriage.com. We'll help you guys get clear on, again, what is it that's stopping you and where do you guys want to go? And even on that call, get you guys clear on what are your values, what are your dreams, what are your concerns. And it's so much clarity, it's so much value, and it's absolutely free. And again, if we can help you guys and it makes sense to work together, we'll talk about that too. But either way, guys, it's been an honor being here. Again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'll reply to them. Absolutely. Just do a hashtag replay and we'll do that. And then, guys, absolutely, if you guys need help, you know where to go, book a call, and we're here to support you guys. So loved having you guys on the show. It's so much fun. And again, if you need anything, just let us know, guys. Have a great day. Bye.